Hello everyone, we continue our videos in which we explain the Fethullahist terrorist organization and its dirty face. This week I will tell you about a betrayal of Turkey abroad by the Fethullahist terrorist organization. I will talk about the genocide slander against Turkey, the Tenkil Association and the Tenkil Museum. Before we talk about the international conspiracy of the Fethullahist terrorist organization against Turkey, let's make our usual reminder. Don't forget to like our videos, subscribe to our channel, turn on your notifications for new videos, and share this video on your social media accounts so that our videos reach a wider audience. If you are ready, members of the Fethullahist terrorist organization have been sharing the same documentaries on social media for the past week. One of them was the video of Hozan Çene, who was arrested in Edirne. In the documentary filmed in the Gestapo in Germany, Hozan Çene talked about the tortures he was subjected to in Turkey. What are these tortures? They left Hozan Çene without water for 9 days. They left him without water for 9 days. They took his pen but not his saz. So he made a song with a burnt branch brought by a bird nesting on the prison wall and recorded the lyrics of that song on the prison wall. And he sang that song at the end of the documentary. When you look at Hozan Çene's documentary, you can see Hozan Çene not as a victim describing torture, but as a tabloid celebrity who has filmed a music video for his new song and is trying to become famous. Because while walking around the walls of the Gestapo, putting his hand on his forehead and posing like that, posing like an artist, there are a lot of poses in the documentary. So who is Hozan Çene? Hozan Çene had his photo taken with PKK ringleader Murat Karayılan. On his social media account, he wrote, "Trust the PKK will take Kirkuk very easily, just like it took Koban. If you don't trust the PKK, you are not Kurdish, question your Kurdishness." A person who attended PKK founder Abdullah Öcalan's birthday party in Germany and sang a song. This person was arrested when he came to participate in the election campaign of the PKK subcontractor HDP in Edirne. He was imprisoned for 2 years and sentenced to 6 years and 10 months in prison. He was released from prison and went to Germany after he denied his stay in prison and his social media posts, and tried to defend himself by saying that I have nothing to do with any illegal organization. I am not a person who has anything to do with terrorist organizations. I am an artist. He is already a German citizen, and Hozan Çene has been on FETO's radar since last year. Members of the Fethullahist terrorist organization started to make Hozan Çene speak constantly through their lobbies abroad, and Hozan Çene told in a tearful voice how FETO women were victimized in prison and how they were tortured in many venues, from a meeting at the United Nations to journalists arranged abroad. And now she is one of the faces of FETO's Tenkil Museum and the Tenkil Association she founded afterwards. So what is FETO's aim with the Tenkil Museum and the Tenkil Association established after the museum? FETO claims that Turkey is committing genocide against members of the Fethullahist terrorist organization, or in their own words, members of the Hizmet movement. Yes, you have not heard wrong. Turkey is committing genocide against members of the Fethullahist terrorist organization. And what is the evidence of this genocide according to FETO members? On the website they set up, they present the death of an 87-year-old businessman in Germany from corona as evidence. Yes, according to FETO members, the death of an 87-year-old businessman who went to Germany without ever having been in prison is one of the evidences of the genocide Turkey practiced against them. Another is the death in Germany at the age of 76 of Mehmet Ali Şengül, who had been FETO's imam on the European continent for years and was one of the most trusted figures of the FETO ringleader. Mehmet Ali Şengül had already been living in Europe for 20 or 30 years and was assigned by the FETO ringleader to lead the organization in Europe. Even the videos of this man on the internet were taken from organizational meetings in France, and according to FETO members, Mehmet Ali Şengül's death abroad at the age of 76 due to illness is evidence of Turkey's genocide against FETO. Let's continue. There is a FETO member who is said to have died of grief because he was dismissed from his post. The man died of grief, and what kind of death is death out of grief? No heart attack, no nothing, death out of grief. And this death out of grief is presented as evidence of Turkey's genocide against FETO members. But there is something even funnier. The claim that Salim Zeybek, who is currently exposing FETO, has been kidnapped is on the FETO website. In his revelations, Salim Zeybek mentions that the Fethullah terrorist organization prepared the document they fabricated to portray Adil Uksuz as a MIT agent, that FETO's private imams instructed him to take an active role in the July 15 coup attempt, and so on. And that name is shown on FETO's Tenkel website as proof that Turkey is a genocidal state. These are people who have no sense of morality, no sense of reason, and no knowledge of any law of enmity. These are the people who do everything in their power to make a big deal out of such victimization and tell all kinds of lies for this purpose. So, who is on the board of directors of this Tenkil Association? The chairman of the board of directors of the Tenkil Association is Mehmet Ali Uluda. Mehmet Ali Uluda is one of the smuggling organizers of the Fethullah terrorist organization in Greece. When FETO members start to flee abroad, Mehmet Ali Uluda is the first to know when they have problems. He gives them their map coordinates and tries to ensure that they are protected by the Greek authorities. Sometimes he succeeds, sometimes he fails. When he fails, he apologizes to FETO members. And Mehmet Ali Uluda is one of the names at the beginning of this spiral of betrayal, which started with this museum of execution. Because he has repeatedly tried to get his wife to flee to Greece, and she does not have any problems, only because of Mehmet Ali Uluda's pressure. Because he is a FETO member who also smuggled FETO members abroad, he put her under psychological pressure and tried to get her to flee abroad many times, and she failed every time and eventually drowned in the Evros River. Despite this, Mehmet Ali Uluda has never severed his ties with FETO. He is a person who sacrificed himself for FETO members, worked for FETO members, and in return was promoted to the presidency of the association and received money from FETO's organizations abroad. One of the executive board members of this betrayal, which started with the Tenkel Museum and then became an association, is Gökhan Atsakoglu's wife. Let's remember again who Gökhan Atsakoglu is. During the July 15 coup attempt, he was the chief imam of the police officers who cleared the way for the putschist soldiers who shot at civilians in Acıbadem. And Gökhan Atsakoglu was caught and detained after the July 15 coup attempt. After he died due to his illness, he was declared a saint by FETO members. And they claimed that Gökhan Atsakoglu was innocent, that he was tortured, that there were no bones left in Gökhan Atsakoglu's body, and that he was killed on purpose. When the dead person's case was dropped because it was not finalized and his right to civil service was restored, let it be known that Gökhan Atsakoglu was innocent, that it was revealed after his death, that if he had not been innocent, how could this man's right to civil service have been restored? Here is Tulay Atsakoglu, Tulay Mumine Atsakoglu, Gökhan Atsakoglu's wife. She was also investigated, detained, arrested, released by the court, and then went abroad, and is now one of the members of the board of directors of the association that claims genocide against Turkey by the Fethullahist terrorist organization. One of the board members of the Tenkil Association is actually a name that intersects with the FETO claim. Who is this name? Yasin Kesen, FETO's digital imam. Yasin Kesen, who we told you about in the video of the FETO operative who turned Twitter into a fire after the forest fires, and whose comment under the video said, "I have quit social media for years. I have not been talking about politics for years. You are paranoid. You think of me in everything. Are you crazy? Why do you keep me on the agenda?" So what is so special about Yasin Kesen? Yasin Kesen is a person who claimed on a television program that he kept an archive of all tweets, all Facebook posts, all dictionary posts made in Turkey at that time, and that he had that archive.
We actually archive all the messages shared on Twitter and dictionaries. In other words, we record all the posts of Turkish users. Let's give you a number. Today, the number of Twitter users in Turkey has reached 11 million.
In other words, Yasin Kesen is the one who did the digital tagging on social media, which is considered by FETO members as the first stage of the genocide. In other words, if a genocide allegation was made against the Turkish people, the first step would be the labeling, and Yasin Kesen, who carried it out on social media, is one of the architects of FETO's genocide slander against Turkey. And when you look at Yasin Kesen, he was a person who had quit social media, who didn't make political comments, who was on his bread and butter. He said this in his comment under our video 2 years ago, and now he is a member of the board of directors of FETO's association, and he is the one who decides all FETO's internet organizations, how all the video shootings will be distributed on social media, which hashtags will be used on social media, who will tweet which tweets, because he is one of the digital princes of the FETO ringleader. Members of FETO's terrorist organization used their lobbies abroad to slander Turkey for genocide. And for this slander, they needed an institutionalized association. They first started this organization with the Tenkil Museum and then turned it into the Tenkil Association. The Tenkil Museum has been exhibited many times before in different cities in Europe, and Barbara Shansal, who is on the agenda with her insults against Turkey, attended this museum and made statements such as, "Of course we will defend the other side when it comes to Turkey. Who doesn't know Turkey's history of genocide?" and praised FETO members.
Well, when it comes to the Republic of Turkey, we see that the persecution does not end.
And Barbara Shansal, who participated in that event, was a person who aimed to legitimize the Fethullahist terrorist organization and then gave disgusting answers to the criticisms against her in her own style, in her own way. Members of the Fethullahist terrorist organization held their last exhibition in a Gestapo prison. In other words, in one of the prisons where Germany committed genocide against the Jews, members of the Fethullah terrorist organization claimed that they themselves were subjected to genocide. With whom? So-called journalists who fled abroad before and after the July 15 coup attempt. One of them is Chevheri Guven, who watched the coup attempt from his home in Üsküdar during the July 15 coup attempt. Members of FETO's terrorist organization claim that they are victims because they failed in their plots, betrayals, and coups against Turkey. Such victimization is very rare in the world. We are talking about something called the victimization of a terrorist organization. There is a terrorist organization that declares itself a victim because it could not carry out a terrorist death, because it could not carry out a coup, because it could not kill enough people, because it could not realize the 50-year dream of the FETO head, and they go beyond declaring themselves victims and claim that they have been subjected to genocide. They present even the deaths of people who died from corona, even people who died in traffic accidents, even the deaths of people who have been living abroad for years as evidence of genocide. This is because the members of the Fethullahist terrorist organization are a terrorist organization, consisting of people who have learned how to lie from the leaders of the organization from an early age and have become professionals in lying. We will continue to tell the lies of the Fethullahist terrorist organization, its conspiracies against Turkey, and the slanders it throws at Turkey to the leaders of the organization. To support us, don't forget to like our video, subscribe to our channel, turn on your notifications for new videos, and share this video with your social media accounts. Thank you for your support.